Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast. Off on tangents here. Apologies for the absence. We've been quite busy with just with our lives at the moment. And no, but we're here. The basketball season is back. It started on the 31st or 30th, no 30th July.
Was
Um,
that on? It was the 30th in America, the 31st for us over here.
yeah, well, yeah, 31st is used both dates, and there have been several games being played, obviously to finish off the regular season, and obviously to get the money, really, the money for the amount of games that are played, and that was the reason why these games were played, these regular season games were played, and we didn't go to the straight into the playoffs because of
What, for
the
money?
yeah, they had. The NBA have to reach a certain quota of games to receive. I think the payout from the TV rights,
Oh, really?
yeah, broadcasting rights. So, which is which is
Wow.
obviously a decision that Adam Silver wanted to. Or it obviously gave weight to that. Uh, Gave weight to that. Otherwise, the NBA would have lost a ton of money for it.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I had no idea that was one of the reasons. I thought it was literally just to give teams that could have had a chance, like,
Yeah.
but obviously money is always going to come into it at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they framed it as if, like, oh yeah, let's give the bottom half of the teams a shot in to get into it.
Yeah, that's what I
But
thought,
really, but really, it's really the quota of games that you have to play for the NBA to get the receive their money, their revenue.
Wow.
So,
I
um,
forgot we live in a capitalist world, bro. What was I thinking?
nah, you weren't. Nah, but yeah, but in any event, there's been a quite a number of games, but we haven't really, we're not going to really pinpoint a game, but just point out, I suppose, key matchups and um, key highlights. What do you think of the last, since the start of the
8 days or so, eh?
sorry?
Um, well, I said it's been about like 8 days, 9 days now of basketball, which is
Yeah,
it's crazy because it felt like for ages we're waiting, and all of a sudden we've had like almost 2 weeks of it now. And
yeah,
man, the one thing I have to say is I've really enjoyed the games. The quality of games we've been getting has been pretty good. Um, Considering the 4 month break. There was a few games in the first 2 days where like the Lakers Clippers game on that first day was absolutely shocking. I watched the whole thing and I just could not believe the number of errors that were happening. Both teams looked just like, obviously there was obviously the factor of two of the best teams going at it. So you obviously can't expect it to be just a highlight reel because
yeah.
they're both playing defense. But I was absolutely disgusted with some of the players I was seeing. Like, I remember there was one play where after about a bunch of turnovers, the Clippers lob it to Zubac, and he goes to do like an open alley dunk and rims it out. And it was just an absolute clusterfuck of bad basketball that first game. But I think we still had a great game,
Yeah.
considering like the game still came down to a one possession game. And I think that's been like just the theme I've noticed since getting in the bubble. It feels like every team is playing with like a chip on their shoulder, man. Like, it feels like everyone wants to get into the playoffs in the Western bottom tier. Like, everyone's really trying to make that ninth or eighth seed. So we've had some great games since opening, eh?
Yeah, definitely. A few notable highlights, I suppose, is players like I want to bring the Pacers into this because no one ever talks about the Pacers. Who
Yeah.
vacations in Indiana, yeah, but TJ Warren, he has been shooting.
Oh, he's been balling.
Yeah, he's been balling and obviously he has that beef with Jimmy Butler, and then two knuckleheads going at it. But yeah, he's been shooting not lights out, and especially his 52-point
Yeah.
performance.
On
Which,
Philly, bro.
Yeah. He was shooting lights out. I'm thinking, what? No one ever talks about Indiana, let alone TJ Warren. And, you know, and you know what the funny thing is that um, the Phoenix Suns gave him up just for money. Like, they didn't
Oh,
trade him for a pick.
yeah.
No,
I was
just
literally thinking that. I was like, when I saw him playing for Pacers, I was like, oh, I swear this dude was on the Phoenix Suns not that long ago. I was like, when did the Pacers pick this guy up? But he's been killing it for them.
yeah,
Was that
yeah.
this year or was that was that a few seasons ago?
I'm not too sure, but I think it was this season. I think it was
Yeah, because I swear it wasn't like I swear I remember seeing him in a Phoenix jersey this early at the start of this year, man. Like
yeah.
but it sort of blends together after a while the regular seasons for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're right. Like you're absolutely right. I feel like the Pacers are almost becoming like a dark horse for me in the Eastern Conference because the one thing you realize is they've been playing these games so far in the bubble without Malcolm Brogdon and without Domantas Sabonis, like two of their best players.
Yeah.
They've been absolutely coming out to play. You know, like I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon's returned in the past few games, but they're still not full force. So yeah, they could be a potentially dangerous team. And yeah, I don't think I like if Philly. I don't think Philly's going to match up with them in the first round. I don't like any matchup for Philly at the moment because Philly is just looking absolutely trash. But
it doesn't help when Ben's injured, I think. So Ben Simmons is injured. So and they moved Al Horford into the starting lineup now, which is, I mean, in that sense, like Al Horford and Joel together is I feel like the post is going to be like a really strong point for them, given that Ben's out. Obviously, his drives to the rack when he attacks to the rack. There's not going to be much of that. It's probably going to go back to a slow half court offense again, which it may work. It may work in this today's environment, but especially with the fast paced 3-point shooting, and so having a half court offense like that could it's just something different to throw at defenses, I suppose.
Yeah.
With Ben's absence, but what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think of that?
Well, I don't know I don't want to say this and sound like an absolute idiot, but I just don't even feel at the moment that losing Ben Simmons is a massive loss for us. Like, just the way it just doesn't feel like he's that big of a presence on the field, other than defensively. He's a great defensive player, but I've just been disappointed after waiting, a couple of months to see, and I know it's a dumb idea to get yourself hyped up over seeing pictures of people building up muscle mass. So, but all these pictures of Ben looking ripped and fit in that like couple of months were getting me real psyched up. They was going to come out and just absolutely explode. And I mean, it just hasn't happened. But yeah, obviously it is a loss. He's he's still a star player. I'm just beginning to see Philly as a lost cause, and I think honestly, like, I'm really realizing that they're probably best just to invest in one of the two. And I'd say at this point, you're best to invest in Embiid. Like Embiid is just an absolute monster. Regardless of the injury issues he's had, he's the one pretty consistent factor on the team. Like when you go to him, you can almost rest assured that he's the only person that can get you a bucket. Tobias Harris. It's funny because you wouldn't pick up Tobias Harris. We didn't trade for Tobias Harris and say, oh, he's going to be a number one scoring option on the team, But if it often feels like it's like who can we give the ball to score us a bucket late in the game? And it doesn't feel like anyone. It feels like our number one option is Tobias Harris sometimes, And that feels weird, to say. And I know he's a great player, but I don't think he should be our number one option, But it just doesn't seem like there's anyone on Philly that you can rely on in those big moments. And it shows every game when it gets to the fourth quarter, when they're up 10 and they drop the game every time almost. It feels like it's a pattern every game I'm watching as a Philly fan. I hold my breath in the fourth quarter because I know that they're just going to botch it most of the time. And obviously, like, it didn't happen today, and they still win games, but they never seem to get those blowout games on the crappy teams that you should get with a good team. Like, you almost can guarantee when you see like the Clippers coming against someone low in the conference, you're not that stressed about it. But I'm not confident in any game when Phillies. I'm always holding my breath because they're just that inconsistent that they could have a really great game and kill someone one night, but then the next night they come out and lose to one of the worst teams in the league, and it just doesn't give you any sort of, trust. You're left feeling like they're just going to drop the lead. Even at 20-point lead, if you're going into the fourth quarter with 20 points, I still don't feel safe with that,
Really?
So, it seems they're just not great down the stretch, man. Like,
yeah.
It's just a frustrating team to watch. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith. I think throughout the season, obviously, starting at the season, I think both of us were claiming like Philly were going to be the best team in the East, and now I think it's very obvious that they're not going to be. I don't even know if they're going to make the second round. I don't think they will make the second round because it looks like they're going to come against the Celtics most likely, and like I'll be surprised if they can, win 2 games against the Celtics this year.
Yeah, could be a sweep.
Could be a sweep, man. I don't want to say that. That's why I was going to say I'd be surprised if they win 1 game, but then I was like, no, I better say 2 because I have some faith and I know that they can win games. And that's the thing. I know that they can win. I just don't have faith that they'll win 4 games out of the 7,
Yeah.
I just can't have that much faith. But yeah, I would say at least 2, but that would be a, best case scenario,
Yeah.
So I think in the, as a Raptors fan, you're sitting much prettier than as a Philly fan. And I don't even like the Raptors' chances, but I like them a lot better than Phillies, that's for sure.
Well, going further, adding further, I don't think San Antonio. I mean, they've been playing okay. I think they won 2 games out of the 4 so far.
Well, they've won 3 out of 5 now today because they won another one today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, against the Jazz. But honestly, it's going to be hard to knock off Portland because Portland look really hungry. They look desperate. Like they're really because once if Portland are within 2 games of Memphis, which they are, and I think San Antonio are within 2 games of Memphis as well, but it would only be a play-in tournament with the 8th and 9th seed. So in order for San Antonio to get there, they have to obviously get past Portland first. So
well, how about this, bro? Memphis might not even hold on to that spot for all we know. They could makes it less likely with their win today. But up until today, I was starting to think, man, because I was saying up until this point, I felt bad for Memphis sitting in 8th seed and saying it feels unfair that if they get within 4 that they have to do the play-in. But then after watching them in the bubble, man, I was like, these guys don't even deserve to hold on to 8th seed at the moment, bro. They're just not playing good. And then they lost Jaren Jackson Jr. as well for the rest of the season, which just I don't like their chances. I actually was starting to feel like they were just going to drop all 8 games, and I'm disappointed in the Thunder today not taking them out. But I was starting to think they don't even deserve the 8th seed with how they're playing. We'd be better off seeing an 8th seed matchup between the Spurs and Portland almost if that's the way that they're going to play. But they came out today and proved differently. They came out and absolutely stomped the Thunder. So I guess they do have some fight in them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, who wraps up that final seed between Spurs and Portland, because you're right, it is looking like both teams really want it. And I know the Spurs as well, I feel like they've been playing really, really well, and they've been playing really like they want to win, but sometimes they've just fallen that short in 2 of their games. The 2 games that they lost, they almost could have won. And that's what I felt like with all of these games in the bubble, man. It's been anyone's game for a lot of the contests. Yeah. So it's been really fun, fun to watch. And I will say this though.
What's that?
I'm losing my confidence in the Lakers day by day. at the moment.
Oh man, we should snippet this. We should snippet this and say, put it on tape. Look, I agree with you. I agree with you, Jake. But, look, I never put money on the Lakers. And you know, I've always put it on the Clippers and the Raptors to make the Clippers winning it. And it's all on record. So, you know, you can always come back. People, all the fans come back. Just drill me for it. But yeah, Lakers. I don't know. I do feel like this is LeBron's best chance to win a championship. Like this year, his best and last chance. But I don't think they're gonna win it. Even with AD entering into his prime now, like I mean, like I think LeBron is gonna start tapering off at some point, like maybe either this season or next season, and then he's gonna there's gonna be a dramatic drop. I feel like there's gonna be a dramatic drop in his performance, in which AD is gonna have to, you know,
step it up.
Well, it looks like AD is already carrying this team. Or starting to like take the reins.
Yeah, he is. I think, like, I don't know if I agree with you on the fact that LeBron James is going to start dropping off a cliff, but you know, I do think that the gap in time has more of an effect on LeBron than it does on these younger guys. Like I was watching an interview of LeBron, and obviously this is like, you know, it's hard to take you could look at it as an excuse, but I actually see the merit in what he says. And he says, like, every year he's sort of, as it's getting towards the playoffs, he starts ramping up the gears as it gets further along the year, and it's a process with his body, right? He knows how to feed the body and build it up so that he's in the best peak form for the playoffs. Yeah. And what happened when he completely lost all that momentum he was building up to, and he was playing some of the best basketball towards the end of the season before it cut off.
Yeah,
like he was only getting better and better, and then it just went away, and it just looks like he's completely out of rhythm, eh? Like he just doesn't seem to be playing with the same sort of, you know, explosiveness.
Yeah.
He's taken jump shots when he should just be driving it to the rim and burst into the rim, and then he's passing the ball on all the. He looks like he's a pass first player. He's not you know, exploding to the rim like we're used to seeing. And it just seems like there's something not quite LeBron like it seems like something's not quite right. But I will say this, in terms of defense, he has been killing it. Yeah. And your boy Kawhi will tell you that personally. He's been locking down on D. So I like to see that. And I think if everything works out for the Lakers in terms of they get it together, and I actually think that, you know, in terms of the pickups that they made, I'll bite my word. I'll apologize for the things I said back in the day where I said, picking up JR and picking up Waiters is a bad move, because Waiters has been one of the only people on that team that when he comes on, you're like, yeah, that's a bucket, you know?
Yeah.
He's one of the only people that can create his own shot on the team, other than like Anthony Davis or, you know, I don't know who else on that team can create their own shot. But LeBron's not doing it for himself. He's only creating shots for others, so he's not creating his own shot.
Yeah.
Davis is like the only, as you said, Davis is like the one guy to rely on. And on nights where he's off, like he's had a few off nights these few games. Like he had a 40-point game, then the next day has like a 9-point game and fouls out, you know? So if Davis is off, if Davis isn't having a good night, like what are the Lakers then, you know? But I think Dion Waiters has come in and filled like a really important role for this team that like they really needed. And he's been great, man. Like he obviously took the time that he had off to, you know, he's come back with a chip on his shoulder as well. Like he wants to prove himself.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I think JR as well. I think JR is going to be quite like an important role player for them, because their 3-point has been atrocious. Like, god damn.
Yeah,
I think they break the record every game at the moment for like least 3-pointers made in a game, man. They're terrible for their franchise. I think they broke the record with 5 in a game, and then they broke it again with 3 the last game. Like, just terrible.
What?
I just, yeah.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
least 3-pointers in a game, is that?
Least 3-pointers for, I think it's their franchise history, least 3-pointers in a game. Oh, no, mate, no. You know what it was? It was least 3-pointers in a game for the season, maybe. It might be because I doubt it's for the franchise. Probably back in the day, 3-pointers wouldn't have been shot that often. So
Yeah.
three in a game probably was the most back in the day. But yeah, it's just in this pace of game and in this day and age, three out of 35 threes is just not good enough. You're not winning basketball with that. You know, it's terrible. Shooting 8% from three, you're losing that game 100%. And they're losing those games. So yeah, I don't like the chances if they play like this, but I do like the chances if everything comes together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like, yeah, I've already elaborated on the topic. Lakers. Yeah, I just something about them just doesn't appeal to me that they're not taking it and saying, oh, you know what, we're gonna win this. Like, it doesn't. They're not grabbing out at me and saying that. When I see the Clippers, I go, yeah, okay. Even though they're not playing their best basketball at the moment, like, I mean, they've had some pretty tough losses against the Suns and the Lakers, and
the Suns was a buzzer beater, like, and the defense couldn't have been better. I mean, D-Book.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean that situation. I remember Draymond actually going on D-Book. Draymond, he went on NBA on TNT and with Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley. And our boy Draymond Green said, your boy D Book's gotta leave Phoenix, and then obviously Charles Barkley was got a bit upset. He's got to get out. D Book's got to get out of Phoenix, and I'm like, you know what? I agree with that. I agree with that. D Book's got to get out of Phoenix. He's got to be in a better situation right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise his career is just gonna. It's just
plateau.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it already has been, bro. He's only 22, and it feels like, or 23 now, and he feels like he's wasted his career already because he's been in the league for so many years.
Yeah.
Like, every year that he spends on Phoenix, I'm like, man, this just feels so wasted, this talent. In saying that, though, that's one of the teams we left out when we're talking about that 8th and 9th seed matchup, because Phoenix hasn't lost a game coming in the bubble.
Yeah.
And they're on a tear at the moment.
That's right. Yeah.
Prove us wrong this year and make the playoffs, and finally we'll get to see Devin Booker in the playoffs and not in the 15th seed, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's just shocking how they have such a great player and they can't even break the playoffs in any year, you know?
Well, question for you: Where do you think he should go? Well, where do you want to see him? Because there's a difference between where you want him to be and where he should go.
So obviously, any team he would be great on because he's just such a good player. But I think, like, I would love to see the Timberwolves pick him up because I know that him, D'Lo, and Karl Anthony Towns are great, like, friends. Yeah. And I know that they've always talked about wanting to be on team. I think that would be, like, because he could play this. You got D'Lo on the 1, you play D-Book on the 2, and then you've got, you put Towns as your center, and then whoever the hell else you're on the team doesn't even fucking matter. Like, pick up a bunch of scrubs, man. Like, that team needs to make the playoffs, you know? So yeah. I would like to see the Timberwolves pick him up if they could. But, I don't know how that would work with cap space, and they'd be paying those 3 players a lot of money, and they obviously wouldn't have a lot of depth. But I think those 3 they'd finally get a chance to as well get, Karl Anthony Towns into the playoffs and give him a chance to show off his skills. I think they made it like a few years ago, but they should be these players, like, it just feels like their careers have been wasted. Like Karl Anthony Towns as well, he should be making the playoffs. So if he can get the Timberwolves good, then that would be a good team. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe someone like even the Lakers could do with someone like D Book, like a scorer who's consistent. Because LeBron's they need someone who's a good shooter, like someone who can shoot the three and create their own shot. And I just because LeBron's just passing the ball to everyone. I think there needs to be someone else that can take the pressure off LeBron in the next few years when he is getting older, so that he can just rely on them. And D Book would be, he'd just be good on any team other than Phoenix. Really, clearly they're not giving him the support he needs or something.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
What about you? What would you say?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Maybe you know what? I'll go out on a limb. Maybe like something like. I was thinking Indiana, but then they already have a two guard in Brogdon and Oladipo. Oh man, that's a tough question.
The Spurs would probably be the other team that could do with a star player to go in their system. I think the Spurs could probably do with someone like a Devin Booker, because they've got the great system, they've got the depth, they've got the teamwork. They just need another I don't know. DeMar DeRozan isn't enough to get them. He's proven time and time again with the Raptors. They couldn't get to the finals.
Yeah.
Now in the Spurs, he didn't make the Spurs better. When Kawhi left, the Spurs got worse. Even though they picked up DeMar. Maybe if they could get someone like D Book alongside DeMar, or trade DeMar and get D Book instead. I think the Spurs would be I think that would be a good, the best team almost to go into, one of the best franchises as a young player who wants to develop well. But he almost needed to do that out of the draft, and develop in the Spurs. So yeah.
Okay. I just can't think of a team. Look, if he wants to go on, I'll go out on a limb. I'm going to say New York. If he wants to start fresh, have his own franchise, but look,
continue wasting his career.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I can't think of a situation where he would want to be in and be in a team where he consistently makes the playoffs.
Orlando maybe as well could be another team. I'm thinking of teams that are up and coming good young teams. Sacramento could do with someone like D Book, and they're this close to being a tough team to beat, but they're just not quite. Or even, let's just say it, Philly needs someone like Devin Booker who can be their number one scoring option. And then they would be set, They've got Ben Simmons on D. Then they wouldn't have to get rid of Ben. You've got Ben Simmons, Joel. You've got Al Horford, if you keep him. And then, D Book can be your number one scoring option. Yeah, and then they don't have to. They could trade. They could get rid of Tobias' salary and build up from there. But I think any team would be lucky to have a player like Devin Booker. Obviously,
100%.
It just feels like he's being wasted at the moment.
Yeah. Actually, OKC. There you go. There's a team.
Yeah. That's a good one.
You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as your point guard, shooting guard, but then obviously I think you're gonna have to move CP3, which I think.
Yeah. Which you need to anyway because of the contract situation.
Yeah.
Even though CP3, he's been a blessing to OKC this year. He's been so fun to watch.
Yeah,
he's so good. He's so you can watch him play and you just see he creates the pace of the game, whatever pace he wants. He looks so comfortable on the floor that literally nothing people do seems to put him off his game. He's controlling the pace of the game, and I love watching it because he's so calm and collected, and yet so skilled and amazing to watch too. So yeah, whilst they need to get rid of the contract, he has been a blessing for OKC. I think because of the young guys coming up, they've probably learnt so much from him this year. It's probably been really good for their young developing guys. But yeah. He's another guy. It doesn't I don't know. Has Father Time caught up with Chris Paul yet? I don't think so.
Well, he hasn't. It doesn't seem like he's dropped off. But I feel like he will, and his time is running out. I feel like he's going to retire, I say, when he's 38, 39, and he's 35 at the moment, so he's same age as LeBron. So I'd say, yeah, give it like 3 years, 4 years, and I think he'll be done, which means his corridor was closing, and I think he should just jump on he should just start ring chasing. I think that's what
He should jump on the Lakers, man. How good would that be? LeBron and Chris Paul. That would be so fun to watch, man. Then LeBron wouldn't have to be the distributor.
Yeah.
He could be like just catching lobs. Lob City would be back up, bro.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember, but the NBA actually vetoed the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers. So
back in the day.
Back in 2011, 2012, I think, the late Commissioner David Stern, like vetoed against Chris Paul going to the Lakers because like he thought it would imbalance like the NBA. But if you remember, like pretty much the Lakers got swept by the Mavericks the season before, like in the playoffs, second round, and they were obviously looking for a point guard, and and New Orleans were looking at Chris Paul wasn't happy with the situation in New Orleans, so they thought, give Lakers a shot, and that would have been a powerhouse. I reckon they would have won like 3 championships with and we might be having a different conversation about Kobe being the greatest, so but like Commissioner Stern vetoed the trade, which is unfortunate, but
because that could have cost that. He's the one that cost CP a ring.
Yeah, exactly, man. He's gonna have 0. I don't think he's gonna get a ring, but I
hope for our sakes the world gets to see CP get a ring, and I hope for his sake, obviously. But I hope he manages to get out of this contract situation. Whilst I like seeing him on OKC, I agree with you. He needs to win a ring, and he needs to chase it now. So he needs to join he needs to jump on either the Lakers or the Bucks or someone like that, because he would be good alongside Giannis as well. So and that would sort of solve, like, I don't know, like the Bucks had issues with Bledsoe in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. He didn't really show up. But if you had Chris Paul as your point guard alongside of Giannis, Giannis would get a ring, Chris Paul would get a ring, everybody gets a ring.
True. Well, I mean, unless you have any final comments, I think that we should.
One more thing that I will say is another, just on the other side of this, looking at the Clippers, is Paul George looks like he's come into form and he's playing some of the best basketball of this season. Like, he's playing the best basketball he's played this year. So if all continues the trajectory it's on, then the Clippers are going to have a much better chance at making the finals. But let's leave it at that. And let's hope that I'm wrong. Let's just leave it at that and pray to the basketball gods that LeBron James is just having a tough few days.
Let's hope that you're right for my sake. But we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys. We'll post this as soon as we finish here, and we'll catch you up with another episode on Off on Tangents. Remember to drop us a like, comment, or subscribe to our page. We are on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much most of the major social media platforms. But we'd love to hear your opinions, your comments about how we can improve, and also just general basketball in general. But we should be able to talk about the hip hop music again. Hopefully soon. A couple of our favorite artists are dropping some albums. Even J. Cole dropping a couple of dimes for his little taster of the fall off. So, but thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.